This is your news source evening bulletin for today, Friday, the 10th day of April in the year 2026. I'm Gordon Mosley reporting, and here is what we're tracking tonight. A short flight between Mahdia and Envoy ended tragically this morning when a small Cessna single-engine aircraft belonging to Air Services Limited with just the pilot on board went missing. The plane crashed in a mountainous area deep in the jungle in Region 8. It is suspected that the aircraft went down not long after its 8:10 a.m. takeoff from Mahdia. It was expected to arrive at Envoy at around 8:44 this morning, but never did. After contact was lost, a search and rescue operation was immediately activated, with the Guyana Defense Force leading the rescue efforts. The wreckage was first spotted by the pilots of other private planes traversing the area. Reports stated that there was no sign of life. The pilot, who was the only person on board, is a Nicaraguan national who has been working with Air Services Limited for the past 10 years. It is suspected that cloudy and rainy conditions in the area this morning might have played a role in the accident, as there was poor visibility. A GDF Special Forces team was also dispatched to the area in a recovery effort. The team is expected to make their way to the crash site through the heavily forested area. The Guyana Civil Aviation Authority has already put together an investigation team and has indicated that the situation remains active. In a statement this afternoon, the Aircraft Owners Association said all private aircraft operators have been rendering full assistance to the national operation in the conduct of the search and rescue operation. More news coming up in just a moment.
It all starts with one. Maybe it's one look, you know the one, or one touch, even one word. I can start with one step, or one promise, one thrill, one first time, one deep breath, one leap of faith, one day to remember, or one night to forget. One moment, so many stories that make up one crazy, average, everyday, fabulous life. We get one life, just one. Make your move. It all starts with one.
Dead the horse with Bowser.
This is your time.
Yeah, but we didn't get all we needed last Christmas, and now we can.
Republic Bank Cash Bonanza.
Let's renovate our home and purchase appliances.
And plan a trip with the kids.
Or buy a new car.
Republic Bank Cash Bonanza. Same day approvals. Apply in person or safely online. Plus a chance to win lots of prizes. This is your time to get what you need. Republic Bank Cash Bonanza.
Linden Town Week 2026 has just gotten bigger. Join Go Mosley Entertainment on Thursday, the 30th of April at the Retrieve Hard Court in Linden for Big Woman Still Gotcha Things, the official Linden Town Week Big People Party. And for the first time in Linden, live on stage, the Queen of Soca, Alison Hines. Plus 3 one-man bands and the one-woman band. Advance tickets are $5,000. Get your tickets at World Access Top-Up Shop on Republic Avenue, Mackenzie, Barnes Taxi in Mackenzie, Shemaine's Bar in the Mackenzie Market, R&T Clothing World in the Mackenzie Market, Shabba Hardware at 1 Mile Wisma, and Go Mosley Radio on Church Street in Georgetown. The Linden Town Week Big People Party 2026 with Alison Hines. Compliments of Banks Beer, XM Rums, GT Beer, drink responsibly, One Communications, Church's Chicken, Sheriff Security, 592 Tees, Star Party Rentals, Fireside Grill, and Go Mosley Radio.
London, are you ready? This Town Week, we'll turn the heat all the way up. On Saturday, May 2nd, the ultimate experience. Team Rodney's Regional All Black. Dark Night at the Retrieve Ground Mackenzie. Performing live, straight out of Jamaica. 450. And turning up the stage, Jamal. Plus, special guest performance from Lyndon's very own, One Dan. Hosted by the unstoppable Gully Rez. Music powered by an all-star DJ lineup. Tickets are moving fast. Early bird general $5,000. Stage front VIP $15,000. Elevated all-inclusive VIP $35,000. Grab yours now in Georgetown at HJ Box Office, Fireside Suite, and Freddy's Stobrook Market in London at Rodney's Court. Word Access Top-Up Shop at Hexton Online and Tropical Reflections. Team Rodney, Regional All Black. It's not just a party, it's an experience.
Let's tell you now that the opposition APNU today tore into the United States ambassador to Guyana, Nicole Theriot, over her glowing review of the Irfan Ali administration and her conclusion that Guyanese are benefiting from the country's oil wealth. During her recent appearance on the Sources program, the U.S. ambassador credited the Irfan Ali administration for turning the country's oil wealth into national development, as she pointed to ongoing infrastructural projects across the country. Ambassador Theriot said from where she stands, it is evident that the current leadership of the country has the Guyanese people's best interests at heart. But at a press conference today at Congress Place, PNC Reform leader and APNU chairman Aubrey Norton pushed back against the sentiments expressed by the U.S. envoy. He contended that the U.S. ambassador, in showering the Ali administration with praise, is simply pursuing the interests of the United States.
We are aware that the ambassador must pursue her government's interests. And at present, the U.S. interest is being promoted above Guyana's by the PPPC regime, and therefore she is happy with its present posture. The APNU wishes to remind the Irfan Ali regime that the U.S. does not have permanent friends, only permanent interests, and that Guyana needs to recognize this fact and act appropriately.
Added to that, Mr. Norton said the APNU has taken note of the re-emergence of U.S. interest and involvement in the oil sector in Venezuela, adding that that fact should influence Guyana's foreign policy. Norton said while the coalition welcomes the support of the U.S. government in addressing the legitimate concerns of the Guyanese people, it is unfortunate that the ambassador supports a regime that continually refuses to address gaps and flaws within the country's electoral system, like the need for voter biometrics and a clean voters list. He said recommendations for electoral reform as put forward by the international community, especially those of the EU Election Observer Mission, have been brushed aside. Norton questioned whether the U.S. has abandoned its commitment to its democratic principles and its commitment to root out corruption.
We ask the question, has the U.S. government abandoned its desire to see the back of corruption by supporting a government categorized by reputable transparency and accountability international agencies as one of the most corrupt in the world? The latest global indices 2023 to 2025 noted on Guyana's effectiveness report that Guyana scores 40 and is ranked 87 out of 180 countries and is given a C grade on corruption. Is that a government that should be supported? The APNU has no doubt that the U.S. has diplomatic panache and therefore respectfully submits that foreign diplomats should not appear to validate an incumbent administration in a way that brushes aside the legitimate concerns of the Guyanese people, especially at a time when the U.S. government is fighting drugs and drug trafficking, and many previously and presently associated with the corrupt PPP regime are on the U.S. security enforcement radar.
and contending that the Pacific administration has failed to act in the interests of Guyanese. Mr. Norton said the coalition's position is based on evidence of everyday life, the increase in poverty, the absence of public accountability, the infrequent convening of the National Assembly, and the paucity of positive national outcomes. He said the U.S. ambassador ought to be reminded that the government of Guyana, at the level of the Public Accounts Committee, diminished public accountability when it changed the legislation governing the committee.
Yes, roads and bridges matter. Our manifesto speaks clearly of the importance and our plans on infrastructure. But government cannot continue to sell a theory of development in which physical infrastructure alone is proof of national progress. Albeit poorly done public infrastructure, while elevated levels of poverty persist in Guyana. The same week that the U.S. ambassador was making her comments, Guyanese were dealing with serious flooding in Georgetown and surrounding communities. A government that cannot keep communities better protected ahead of the rainy season cannot simply ask the nation to admire concrete and asphalt.
Underscoring the importance of the adherence to the rule of law and people-centered initiatives, the PNC reform leader said the coalition will continue to advocate for cohesive development policies that will benefit all the people of Guyana. In the oil and gas sector right now, Guyana has earned $761 million in oil revenue between January and March of this year, which represents the highest quarterly earnings recorded since the country's oil production began 7 years ago. The earnings, which were published in the official gazette, stated that the country raked in $72.5 million in March alone in profit oil and royalties. According to the publication, there were 10 oil lifts between the 30th of December and the 31st of March. For the period, one royalty payment related to the fourth quarter production of 2025 was made, amounting to just over $110 million, with the total profit payments for the quarter reaching $650.8 million. Overall, flows into the oil fund, including profit oil and royalty, was just over $761.7 million. Last year, Guyana received $2.1 billion in profit oil, comprising of $400.1 million from the Lease of Destiny, $767.7 million from the Lease of Unity, $824.4 million from the Prosperity, and $133.6 million from the One Guyana oil ship. There were 260 lifts of crude oil from the 4 vessels, inclusive of a combined inaugural lift from the One Guyana FPSO. The 4 FPSOs are currently producing over 900,000 barrels of oil per day. Last year, the government withdrew $2.463 billion from the Natural Resource Fund to finance a number of projects and programs at the end of 2025. The fund had a balance of $3.2 billion at the end of last year. Municipal news to report now. The Georgetown Mayor and City Council has asked the High Court to order servants and agents of the state to vacate the building that once housed the City Constabulary Training Complex on Water Street in Georgetown, on the grounds that City Hall is the sole and rightful owner of the property. The mayor of Georgetown, Alfred Mentor, said in the interim, the council has asked for an injunction to be granted, restraining the state, its servants and or agents or workers from carrying out any construction on the Water Street property.
We have moved for injunctive relief to ask the court, or pray to the court to ask them for them to grant us the necessary relief so that we could have back our property and so that we could be able to have access and be able to determine what is the best use for that property.
The mayor said he is convinced that the council has a strong case against the state and that the Water Street property will remain within the possession of the council. In the case brought against the Attorney General Anil Nandlal and the owners of RK Security, Roshan Khan, the mayor and town council of Georgetown, by way of transport, says it owns a property in dispute located at Lot 15 Water Street, South Cummingsburg. The city council contends that despite being the owner of the property since the 1800s, the state, with the aid of the Guyana police force, has barred the elected council from accessing the premises and has since erected a no trespassing sign on the property. The court was told that a previous sign indicated that the property was secured by RK's Security. The city council has stated that it did not hire RK Security and did not authorize the security firm to enter the premises. In the wake of the current dispute, City Hall has asked the court to declare that both the state and RK Security have trespassed on the property and that they are not entitled to occupy or take possession of the property. The council is also seeking damages in excess of $5 million for the trespass committed by the defendants. Mentor has also indicated that the council's attorneys, led by attorney Dexter Todd, are also preparing to file another application in the courts, this time addressing the government's seizure and reclassification of 57 municipal roads by way of ministerial orders.
We're almost at the state of filing our action in relation to that matter. Like I've said, we had an extraordinary meeting of the council where we had a resolution passed, causing me as the mayor to be the claimant in this matter on behalf of the mayor city council. So our attorneys have been looking at that matter and they're getting up the necessary facts and evidence to be able to proceed.
The Georgetown mayor maintains that the council has the transport and other legal documents to support its position that the 57 roads belong to the municipality and ought to be controlled by the council.
So we have a number of transports available to us that speak to ownership of those assets, not ownership by some guessing, ownership by title. So we have transport and title for those streets, and we will need to have those kind of discussions.
The government, through the Ministries of Local Government and Regional Development, Public Works and Legal Affairs, has accused the Georgetown municipality of neglecting its duties.
GCOM is currently conducting a national registration exercise. Who can register? Anyone who will be 14 years or older by June 30, 2026 and is a Guyanese citizen by birth, descent, naturalization, or is a citizen from a Commonwealth country living in Guyana for 1 year or more. It is the civic duty and legal responsibility of all Guyanese who meet the eligibility criteria to apply for registration. By so doing, you will be ensuring that you are issued a national identification card and be included in the official list of electors for future elections, provided you meet all eligibility criteria. This registration exercise will end on May 29, 2026. You need to apply for a transfer if you now live at a different address than the one you were registered at. For more information, contact the GCOM on 225-02779 or visit www.gcom.org.gy.
Dead the horse with Bowser.
This is your time.
Yeah, but we didn't get all we needed last Christmas, and now we can.
Republic Bank Cash Bonanza.
Let's renovate our home and purchase appliances.
And plan a trip with the kids.
Or buy a new car.
Republic Bank Cash Bonanza. Same day approvals. Apply in person or safely online. Plus a chance to win lots of prizes. This is your time to get what you need. Republic Bank Cash Bonanza.
Washi. Hi people. Washing made so easy since I found Washi. Washing me use wash me clothes and I can say Washi soap powder wash clothes so nice. Washi soap powder leave your clothes color bright. Washi soap powder leave me clothes smelling nice, of course. So give thanks to wash soap powder for doing my laundry right. Keep my clothes color bright. Have my clothes smelling nice for sure. I could not ask for more. Comes in lemon and original. It is a washing machine in a pack. Wash your soap powder, wash clothes so nice. Wash your soap powder, leave your clothes color bright. Wash your soap powder, have my clothes smelling nice, of course.
Distributors located in the Stabrook Market.
Your business is built on hard work, vision, and the drive to succeed. At GBTI, we understand what it takes to grow. That's why we offer Grow, a small business service designed to help your business expand, adapt, and reach its full potential. From new opportunities to new milestones, we're here to support you every step of the way. Grow from GBTI. Progress starts here.
The main opposition We Invest in Nationhood Party today called on Commissioner of Police Clifton Hicken and Fire Chief Gregory Wickham to step down from their respective posts and for a process to commence to select a new Commissioner of Police and a new Fire Chief. In a statement, the Wind Party said the situation to have both men in the senior roles while beyond their retirement age is not only troubling, but a dangerous pattern that undermines the integrity of the disciplined services. In the statement, the Wind Party said in the Guyana Police Force there is a Commissioner of Police in Clifton Hicken who reached the mandatory age of requirement of 55 years back in 2023. Yet he continues to serve through extensions granted by the executive. Adding that while the law may allow for extensions up to the age of 60, the real question is not legality. It is one of fairness, transparency, and opportunity. The Wind Party wants to know why the position has not properly been regularized when there are capable, qualified officers within the force who have worked their entire careers in anticipation of upward mobility. The party said the same is being obtained in the Guyana Fire Service, where the acting Fire Chief Gregory Wickham is now 58 years old, making him well beyond the retirement age and remaining in the position. The Wind Party said if the trend continues, promotions will be affected and the morale of younger officers will be daunted. The party has also raised concern over matters relating to the Guyana Prison Service, where the Director of Prisons, Gladwin Samuels, was sent on administrative leave for 4 months, and upon completion of the leave, he was reassigned, with Nicholas Elliott acting as Prison Director. The party questioned whether there is a move to control the country's law enforcement and security architecture. The Wind Party said it is calling on the President to take immediate action to ensure the resignation of the Police Commissioner and the Fire Chief, and to appoint new leaders through meaningful consultation with the opposition leader. Ahead of the anticipated May-June rainy season, the Mayor of Georgetown, Alfred Mentor, today called on the government to set up a national task force with the relevant agencies and local authorities to come up with ways to minimize flooding, especially in the city. Just last week, parts of Georgetown and several other parts of the country were flooded following persistent and heavy rainfall. Speaking at the press conference today, Mayor Mentor said the recent flooding should be an eye-opener to the government of what could come when the May-June rains arrive.
And I believe strongly with the advent of the May-June that's coming up, the government themselves has to put their house in order and to look at a general plan for that May-June period. And I would assume that a national task force, speaking of government, speaking to the municipalities, speaking of the city, speaking to the towns, speaking to the NDCs, ought to be put in place so that we could treat with these issues.
He said all local authority organs must be given a chance to play prominent roles and be able to advise the government on the best scenario forward in order to minimize or mitigate flooding within their respective constituencies. He said the government's approach to only address flooding after it has happened is a waste of resources.
For this ad hoc and jerk approach to treating with matters of of the state and the city and the municipalities is not one that should be condoned, and I think a lot more should be desired of the government themselves to be able to deal with these matters.
Meanwhile, PNC Reform leader Aubrey Norton also called for urgency in addressing the flood situation.
And unfortunately, this government believes that just putting down a pump solves the problem. They don't focus on efficiency. They don't focus on effectiveness. They do not focus on creating a network of drains that are flowing out. We mentioned in the press statement, they do not even focus on what should happen, what needs to be done when the sluices, the cokers, etc. are closed.
Mr. Norton said the situation is also being compounded by a new issue, where many drains are being narrowed to make way for wider roads. And now there's a problem popping up of improper drainage systems. Former President of Guyana, Donald Ramotar, while offering support of the government's goal initiative, believes greater investment and attention ought to be given to the University of Guyana, the country's premier educational institution. In an interview with Before the Red Dot, an on-camera program hosted by journalist Kurt Campbell, the former president said while there have been notable investments in the education sector, there's not enough being invested at the University of Guyana.
Program. I don't agree with all of the gold program. I think, okay, you can have it, but I think more emphasis should have been put, a lot more of the money should be going to UG and developing UG and making it a more powerful institution.
In light of the significant increase in the number of applications to pursue higher education at the institution due to the move by the government to abolish tuition fees, the university's administration had reportedly proposed an annual subvention of $21.2 billion. However, it received $6.6 billion less. On the other hand, the Guyana Online Academy of Learning, despite being shrouded in controversy, was allocated $5.8 billion as the government forges ahead with its plan to issue thousands of scholarships to Guyanese for online learning. Former President Ramotar said the University of Guyana has fallen short of the vision of late President Chelly Jagan, who was the then Premier of British Guyana when the university was first established back in 1963. He said Mr. Jagan had spoken of the importance of education in nation building, self-reliance, and social progress.
He wanted to create a new type of intellectual. He didn't just want to bring an intellectual that was bright and do the work and work for plenty money and call for the same money like the white man to get in and go for holiday in England and so forth. He wanted to develop an intellectual whose sympathies will be with the grassroots.
According to Ramotar, a lot of Jagan's vision and plans for the university have gone through the window. He said the University of Guyana is now just another institution. Linden Town Week 2026 has just gotten bigger. Join Go Mosley Entertainment on Thursday, the 30th of April at the Retrieve Hard Court in Linden for Big Woman Still Got Your Things, the official Linden Town Week Big People Party. And for the first time in Linden, live on stage, the Queen of Soca, Alison Hines. Plus 3 one-man bands and the one-woman band. Advance tickets are $5,000. Get your tickets at World Access Top-Up Shop on Republic Avenue, Mackenzie, Barnes Taxi in Mackenzie, Shemaine's Bar in the Mackenzie Market, R&T Clothing World in the Mackenzie Market, Shabba Hardware at 1 Mile Wisma, and Go Mosley Radio on Church Street in Georgetown. The Linden Town Week Big People Party 2026 with Alison Hines. Compliments of Bags Beer, XM Rums, GT Beer, drink responsibly, One Communications, Church's Chicken, Sheriff Security, 592Ts, Star Party Rentals, Fireside Grill, and Go Mosley Radio.
Welcome to Church's New Amsterdam.
20 years of Church's Chickens, you and us and there is nothing missing. So many friends and strangers pass through our doors and they always come back for more. Guyana, the love keeps growing, and we thankful for the support you are showing. We got so many locations and much more to come. It's gratitude and celebration. Can you feel the love? 20 years of churches, chickens, you and us, and there is nothing missing. So many friends and strangers pass through our doors, and they always come back for more. Feel the love.
Guyana, up your cash! Over 100 winners! More than $2.5 million in cash and prizes up for grabs. Win cash every week. Plus a chance to up your cash to $500,000. And that's not all. Win back your grocery bill up to $20,000 cash every week. Just grab any Buster Turbo Energy Drink, Fruitopia, Oasis Flavored Water, Fruita, or Viva Sparkling Flavored Water. Look for the code starting with BB, then visit at Buster Guyana on Facebook or Instagram for details. Up your cash today!
Your business is built on hard work, vision, and the drive to succeed. At GBTI, we understand what it takes to grow. That's why we offer Grow, a small business service designed to help your business expand, adapt, and reach its full potential. From new opportunities to new milestones, we're here to support you every step of the way. Grow from GBTI. Progress starts here.
Rapidly transforming, and we're all part of it. Guyana is at the forefront of this development by providing reliable and efficient energy and supporting community development from the very core. 100% of Guyana's profit goes back to building schools, roads, and other important infrastructure that connects our cities and towns, providing fuel to domestic, marine, industrial, and aerial transportation. Guyana has now repositioned itself as a market leader in the petroleum industry, building a better future.
Feel spice power in every sip.
With your regional and international news tonight, I am Svetlana Marshall. In the region, the Brazilian government on Friday announced a joint initiative with the U.S. to combat organized crime, involving the integration of data from Brazil's Federal Tax Authority with U.S. Customs and Border Protection. The move comes as President Luiz Lula da Silva steps up efforts on public security, a key issue in Latin America's largest economy, as he seeks a new term in October's general election. Lula has seen his lead in opinion polls evaporate, with surveys now pointing to a runoff tie with his main rival, right-wing Senator Flavio Bolsonaro. Since last year, Brazil's tax authority has played a central role in major operations uncovering money laundering schemes linked to criminal organizations in the fuel sector, identifying multiple operations abroad. Lula has publicly called on U.S. President Donald Trump to arrest the owner of Refit, one of the main companies involved in the scheme, who resides in the United States. Still, there are tensions between the U.S. and Brazilian governments regarding the best approach to tackle organized crime. Last year, U.S. officials had asked Brazil to label major gangs terrorist organizations, but Brazilians refused to do so. As Peru heads into the first round of its presidential election on Sunday, Washington is mounting its most assertive push in years to shore up influence in the major copper producer that has become a key strategic partner for China, according to business leaders and senior officials. The outreach, led by newly appointed U.S. Ambassador Bernie Navarro, marks a shift after a decade in which China overtook the United States as Peru's dominant trade partner, particularly in mining and infrastructure. The upcoming election, in which over 30 candidates are competing for the presidency with no clear frontrunner, could offer Washington a new chance to rebuild ties as it seeks to safeguard access to critical minerals and push back on growing Chinese influence in South America. The relationship with the U.S. is really strengthening, said Philip James, head of Peru's Manufacturing Industry Chamber, who met with Navarro in February to open a working group to boost trade and investment. In January, the White House designated Peru a major non-NATO ally, a move that would deepen defense cooperation and expand access to trade and security programs. And finally tonight, international news. When JD Vance arrives in Islamabad for talks on Saturday with Iranian officials, it will fulfill a wish for Tehran's remaining leaders, some of whom have quietly sought the U.S. Vice President to take a lead role in negotiations to end the war, according to several sources familiar with the matter. Iran views Vance as one of the most anti-war figures in President Donald Trump's inner circle, said one regional official and 4 people familiar with the talks. That reputation, long a fixture of its political brand, has led Tehran to believe Vance is the most likely among Trump's close associates to seek a deal in good faith, said the sources. There is no indication Vance would adopt a more accommodating negotiating stance than any other representative sent by Trump, who has threatened to renew U.S. bombing campaign if talks fail. A White House official said it was Trump's decision alone to send Vance to Pakistan for the talks, and that the president will make the final call about what deal is acceptable. But the vice president's presence and whether Tehran's instincts about him are right will nonetheless be one factor determining whether the first face-to-face talks since the war broke out on February 28 have a shot at succeeding. The stakes are high for Iran and the Trump administration, which is seeking an off-ramp to an unpopular war 7 months before competitive midterm elections in November. And that's your News Source Evening Bulletin for tonight. I'm Svetlana Marshall, wishing you a pleasant evening.